Thanks for being here. You could be anywhere and you chose to be here. This is Lily, and this is Affirming Self. Guys, I know a lot of you have been wanting more conversations around relationships, not just dating, but friendships, connection, loss, and love. We haven't really gone there yet on this podcast, but today we are. Because one of the hardest parts of growth is not always the leaps forward or the healing work. It's realizing that not everyone will grow with you. And that realization can feel like heartbreak, even when it's happening slowly, quietly, without conflict. Sometimes you look up and realize the connection feels stretched thin. The conversations no longer land. You still deeply care, but something's changed. You still care deeply, but something's changed. It doesn't mean you stopped loving them. It means you started loving you too. This episode is for the ones navigating tender goodbyes, quiet truths, and the ache that comes with choosing alignment over attachment. Growth often comes with grief, and both can be true at once. You don't have to villainize someone to walk away. Not every ending needs conflict. Sometimes the connection fades and the love remains. You can honor the good without carrying the weight of misalignment. You can miss someone and still know it's best not to stay close. You can walk away without resentment. This isn't about bitterness. This is about clarity. There was someone I grew close to during a really pivotal time in my life. We connected over shared passions, long conversations, and the comfort of being seen during uncertain seasons. For a while, we were each other's safe place. But over time, something shifted. Our conversations grew quieter, more surface level. I started to feel like my presence wasn't quite landing anymore. And maybe I wasn't fully seeing them either. There wasn't a conversation, no falling out. We just drifted. And in that space, I realized we weren't walking in the same direction anymore. Not out of resentment, but out of rhythm. It's a quiet kind of grief. When someone who once felt like home slowly stops feeling like alignment. Not because the love is gone, but because the version of us that fit just doesn't anymore. Let's be real for a second. What I just said is hard to hear. It's not because the love is gone, but because the version of us that fit just doesn't anymore. People discover, people shift, people choose different things at different times. And what once used to be comfortable, like a hand in a glove, just doesn't fit. It's not a bad thing. It's just something that happens. I'm reminded of something else. There was someone I had a deep connection with. We never had a falling out, never exchanged harsh words. We just slowly stopped showing up in the same way. The calls became less frequent. The texts, more delayed. At first, I told myself we were just busy, that we'd reconnect once things settled down. But in my quiet moments, I could feel it. Really, I knew. We were slowly drifting. And I'll be honest, I stopped reaching out too. I wasn't the same version of myself anymore, and neither were they. We were changing, and we didn't quite know how to meet each other in the middle. There wasn't a conversation. There wasn't closure, but there was grief. Because even though nothing bad happened, something still ended. And it took me a while to admit that I played a part in that silence too. I definitely played the victim, and that wasn't necessary because the love was real, and so was the letting go, even when it hurt. So let's talk about it for real. Some people were part of your becoming, and that doesn't mean they're a part of your becoming more. Here's the thing: closeness without alignment leads to self-betrayal. Let that sink in for a second as I repeat it. Closeness without alignment leads to self-betrayal. And boundaries, they're not walls, they're bridges. Bridges back to your truth, back to your peace. Letting go doesn't mean you didn't care. It means you finally do. I'm reminded of the verse in Mark chapter 12, verse 30 and 31. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. The second is this: love your neighbor as yourself. There is no commandment greater than these. Bottom line with this verse that I take from is the idea that you can't give what you don't already have. So that's what I think of when I say letting go doesn't mean you didn't care. It means you finally do. Because it can happen where you're in a relationship with somebody, whether it's a friend or a significant other, and you give and you give and you give, and you're neglecting yourself and what your needs and wants are in an unhealthy balance. In healthy relationships, you can give and still take care of your needs, and you're also receiving, but there's other times where it's imbalanced, and that's what I'm referring to. And this actually leads me to my next story. And this is deeper for me because was really hard. It taught me a lot about myself. So, there was someone I deeply cared about, and for a while, we were both curious about what it could become. There was love, potential, and a quiet hope between us. And we tried. We really did. But even in the trying, there were just things we just couldn't get right with each other. There were moments I felt unseen and where I know I didn't show up perfectly either. There were times when I offered something genuine and it wasn't received. And there were times when I know I couldn't be what he needed, even though I tried. We we both struggled to communicate clearly, to trust what was real, to name our needs without fear. And when the hard conversations did happen, they were heavy, full of confusion, defensiveness, and moments that made us question ourselves. Looking back, I think we both abandoned parts of ourselves just to hold on to the idea of us. And even when we let go, it wasn't all at once. It happened slowly. And in some ways, we're both still making sense of it. But love doesn't always mean it's meant to become something permanent. Letting go wasn't about bitterness. It was about releasing both of us from the pressure to become something we couldn't sustain. That's not failure. That's a different kind of love. One that knows when to surrender. There's something that happens when we realize that letting go doesn't erase the love. It just means we're no longer trying to force something that no longer fits. We can honor the history, hold the memories, still care, and still choose clarity, still choose healing. We learned this quiet truth. We can honor our history and still choose our healing. That doesn't make us disloyal. It makes us honest. It makes us whole. This was a little bit of a different vibe today, and that's okay. My hope is you heard something that was of value, that spoke to your heart, that allowed you to see a little bit of a contrast, if you will. There is opportunity where you outgrow the people you love, whether it's something quiet, whether it's something mutual, or whether it's something you fought for. My hope is you saw that it's okay to let go, and that you think about your relationships and see if there maybe is someone you need to let go of. And I'm not saying drop somebody like a sack of potatoes because you're just having a little bit of a spat. What I'm saying is, if you truly know in the depths of your spirit that this person doesn't align with you anymore, and it's not serving you to have them in your life, And again, I'm not saying toss the baby out with the bathwater because of one little thing. You should talk to the person if there's an issue. However, if you have tried that and you're acknowledging the misalignment and the direction is not the same anymore, it's okay to let go. So maybe think about that for a while. Anyway, as I was saying before, my hope is that if this has helped you in some way or another, that you like, comment, subscribe, and share with someone who would benefit from this. Thanks for listening. Really, thank you. You could be anywhere and you chose to be here. This is Lily, and this is Affirming Self. Until next time.